students, welcome to my today's lecture, that is a poem, The Storyteller, written by Nicholas Hosberg. At first, we discuss the word meaning of this poem, after that about the poem, after that about the author, and at last we learn a detailed explanation of the poem, The Storyteller, text by text. So now the word meaning of this poem are, please write down your text in your notebook. At the end of day, it means night. दिन का आखिरी समय जो कि क्या होता है नाइट होता है. Well fed, to have proper meal, अच्छे से खाना पानी खाने के बाद. Cuddled, hug in the arms, बेड पर अपने सिबलिंग के साथ क्लोजली सो जाना. Or mixed feelings of respect and fear brought about by authority. किसी भी पर्सन के द्वारा अपनी मिक्स्ड फीलिंग को एक्सप्रेस करना. And the mixed feeling of what? Mixed feeling of respect and fear. Fables, it means short stories. Your time long past means पुराने समय. और fables, it means short story, छोटी कहानियां. तो fable yours, fables your, it means पुराने समय की छोटी कहानियां. Phantoms, it means ghost. Chill, shivering with fear. डर से या ठंड से थरथराना या कांपना. So this is the word meaning of this poem, The Storyteller. Now, The Storyteller is a poem which talks about the love of the children for listening the stories. How much they learn from stories which are narrated to them by their elders, by their grandfathers, or by their grandmothers, and so on. Now, the author, the poet of this poem is Nicholas Hosberg, which is an educational consultant and resource person. After completing his higher studies in abroad, he worked in India in close association with his father, David Hosberg. He is the author of several successful courses in English and other subjects also that are currently in use across the Indian subcontinent. So, this is the poet Nicholas Hosberg, who is the author of several successful courses in English, and he also writes, and the poem, his work also uses across the Indian subcontinent. Now, please take out your textbook, page number 30, poem Storyteller, and read with me text by text. And listen very carefully. What stories he told the children at the end of day, when tired of play, all bathed and well fed. They cuddled in bed. What stories he told them. In the first stanza, the poet tells that there is a man, maybe or his grandfather, maybe their grandmother, or any elders of their family. The poet asked himself, or the elder person asked himself, that what stories did they told to the children at the end of the day? It means at night, when the day was over and children are tired of playing, tired of having their school, tired of doing their homework, and also tired because of playing. And when they came back to home, they take a bath, and after having a proper meal or after having a dinner, they cuddle in bed. It means they sleep closely to each other in the bed. When the children cuddled in bed, the poet asked what stories he told them. That the poet is talking about what stories he told to the children when they sleep closely, when they sleep in the bed close to each other, when they cuddle in the bed. The poet asked what stories he told to the children. Now, in the second stanza, what stories he told to the children, their eyes open wide, with him by their side. They listen in awe to fables of yore, what stories he told them. The poet says that what kind of a story he was telling to the children, that their eyes open wide because they were listening the story with eyes widely open, with the storyteller sitting beside them. The poet says that what kind of stories he told to the children so that the children listened his story, listened their elders' stories with lot of interest by open their eyes wide, and the author, the poet, or the elder sitting beside them. The children were listening the story with great interest, with great respect, with great curiosity. And this is the short stories that the children was telling to that the poet was telling to the children, which are long time ago. The poet says what kind of stories he told to the children. The story was belong to the ancient time, long time ago, and this was the short stories, and also the story have a moral lesson. That's why the poet says he tell the children stories like fables yore. It means he was telling the children stories like fables yours. It means the short stories which are of ancient time and also having a moral lesson. Now, in the third stanza, what stories he told the children of shadows that crept while they soundly slept, and phantoms that played. If first they would not prayed, what stories he told them. In the third stanza, the poet relates the children feeling with the God, that if the children were not praying first before going to the bed, then the evil spirit will come and frighten the children. So the poet asked himself what kind of story he tell to the children. He wants to tell lot of stories to the children. He used to tell them about shadows. Shadows, we will learn the meaning of shadows in science chapter also, that shadows are formed with the help of light when any obstacle placed in front of the source of light, then after that obstacle, a dark dark image is formed. That image, that dark or black image is called shadow. So the poet said he used to tell them about shadows that can be of anything, like can be of animal, can be bird, can be ghost, and can be any supernatural thing. So the shadows that crept when the children were slept, when the children were in deep sleep, the shadows crept around the room of the children. When the children are in deep sleep. So the poet said, if the children didn't pray to God before sleeping, then the phantom, then the ghost or evil spirit will appear, will come, and they crept and play around the room of the children. So he was confused that what kind of stories tell to the children that the children learn praying before sleeping. Okay? In the last stanza, what stories he told the children? Now they feel a chill, yet repeat them still to their young and old, those stories of old, what stories he told them. In the last stanza, when the storyteller is telling the story to the children, then the children are feeling chill. It means the children were shivering with fear, not because of cold. They were shivering because they were scared of listening the story of phantom, by listening the story of ghost. And the poet knew that the children were frightened, but still he repeated this story because he knew that that story that the poet telling to the children, that the poet was telling to the children is very precious. As we all say, old is gold. So the story the poet was telling to the children belongs to people's youth. It means that story is old story. That short story is old story which have a moral lesson. So the poet repeat the story by knowing that the children were frightened, that the children become chill because of fear, because they were scared, not because of cold. They were shivering because they are afraid. Though, because the story that the storyteller was telling is a horror or a scary story, but still he repeat. The storyteller considered that kind of a story as a precious story like gold, because this story belongs to the old era. This story belongs to the ancient era, and we all think that old is gold. So the poet have this mindset that this story is also precious story. So the elders have to tell the children and also give them a moral lesson. The storyteller tells the children old and short story of ghost who rooms at night. The ghost rooms at night, crawls in the room, around the room of the children, or in the shadow. So the children were feeling scared and shivering with fear. So this is the end of the poem. I hope you all enjoy the poem very well. So please do the exercise question of this poem. And yes, have a good day.